Viewer discretion advised.
Welcome to Gotham.
Cenobites.
Shall we begin?
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. You've clicked on Gotham Cenobites. I'm Terry. And today's video I've kind of been thinking about doing for a little bit, and Prime 1's recent showcase kind of sparked some conversation on a statue we're going to get to in the very last section. And we'll get to it when we get to it, but even Prime 1 themselves seem to be marketing a few of these statues from the wrong books. And we'll get to why I think that is when we get there as well. Again, that's going to be in the last part of the video when we get to the death metal. But yeah, I've been kind of, even though I am far from the only person that's collecting these statues, I seem to be online in all the groups and on YouTube as the metal guy. So I know it's a small gripe, but when I see people get it wrong, it kind of briefly irritates me. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's like, maybe I should make a video telling you what books all of these statues by Prime 1 are coming from. So today, the statues behind me, some of the statues in this line that I don't have, and then others that we will get to. I'm just going to let you know what books they're from. Some of them are only on covers. A lot of people didn't know that. But, so we're going to start, and I have the books here. We're going to start, of course, in the most common one, and that is the Metal. See, Dark Knight's Metal. After that book, of course, they defeat Batman Who Laughs, but a little bit after this book, he kind of comes back, and that is the story. It's not exactly an omnibus, but it's a 6 or 7 issue run. It's a pretty long story. So this is the Batman Who Laughs run. And I know the picture on the thumbnail is not this cover, but this is the same book. The one on the thumbnail is the newly released, like, extended version of this, which I'm not exactly sure what's different with these two. But the final section that we're going to talk about is, of course, the thickest one, and that is Death Metal. It's Dark Knight's Death Metal. This was the final conclusion, but yeah, you see Death Metal, Batman, Superman. So we will get to Death Metal, we will get to Batman Who Laughs, but we are going to start with Metal. Alrighty, so beginning with Dark Knight's Metal, and I'm going to kind of, again, all we're doing is showing you some comic art, and then we're going to show you the statues. If I have the statue back here, you're going to see a quick video while I'm talking. If it's a statue I'm talking about that I don't have, you may just see some stills and pictures of the comic and then of what the statue looks like. But all we were doing is getting the record straight about what book, what statue comes from, and why not all of them are from Dark Knight's Metal. Just to be clear, they are all from the Dark Multiverse, but they are not all from Dark Knight's Metal. So, we're going to go in order, mostly the order which Prime 1 released them. I think the only one that is out of that order is the Superman from the Metal, which we'll get to. I think it's the last Metal statue we're going to talk about. Everybody knows what the first one was, right? The OG Mr. himself is Batman Who Laughs. And he's probably the easiest to talk about. I'm going to show you this comic still. These are some of my favorite art pieces just because I always call him the Nick Fury of the Dark Multiverse. And if you've read all of their solo books, that I'm going to show you those covers as well. Like this is the cover that we're showing you right now. That his statue is based off of, and I do refer to him as Nick Fury because he's going throughout all of their books, as showing up at the very end, kind of recruiting them to be part of his army or his, force going against Earth Zero. And that's why I like some of these pictures here, is because it shows the whole group together. But the statue, the one thing I do love about Prime 1's statues is, at least with the metal statues, they seem to be directly off of the covers of their solo books. And there is a... we'll get to that when we get to it. About Grim Knight. But, so yeah, the Batman Who Laughs is one of the first, and the statue looks, it looks just like the comic cover, which I love Prime 1 for doing that with most of these. The next one, there is some argument of which was second and which was third. I'm just going to go off what I'm pretty sure was second. I'm pretty sure that Batman versus the Joker Dragon was number 2. I think Drowned was number 3. But a lot of you are always wondering, like, why is Viking Batman fighting this Joker Dragon? If you've read the story, you know there is a plethora of Joker Dragons flying throughout Earth Zero once the Dark Multiverse starts taking over. And towards the end of the run, just kind of some of the stills that we're going to show you right now, is Batman in this shiny Viking-like armor. And I don't know how to spell the metal that this armor is made out of. I'm going to put it, spell it out for you on screen right now. But it's that type of metal that this costume is also made out of. And it's not just Batman, it's Superman, Wonder Woman, everybody gets this armor towards the end. And you see in this next slide that it does kind of glow purple. And that's what you see come to life with his statue here, is because a lot of people were complaining at first about, it doesn't look like the pictures, the promo pictures, why is it purple? And it's like, well, it is in the comics, and it does have a purple sheen or shine. So I think the portrait with the beard might not be from the comic, but this armor was at the end. Of course, there's all kinds of Joker Dragons. But, so yeah, this is also from metal. And then, of course, we all know one of my personal favorites, one of the first I ordered, one of the last that came in, is the Drowned. The Drowned is up next, and she too is from Dark Knight's metal. And you see, hers is also, more or less straight off the comic cover. It depends on what trident you have in her hand, but it's more or less straight off the comic cover as well. As we get into her statue, it's definitely one of the only ones I worry about leading for sure. But it's also kind of, when she has the trident in the video, it is kind of the smallest footprint wise of any of them so far. Alright, and then moving on, number 3, Merciless, and showing you some of his comic pages here. He's holding the head of Ares, which I love, at the end of that comic. But yeah, you see his comic cover right there showing up, and again, he's straight off the comic cover. I don't really care for the head like this that comes with the statue, but as we take a look into his video, but yeah, I prefer the head I have on the statue, but does come with a head that is looking up, that is definitely resembles this comic cover. And which brings us to some of these statues do have variants, and Merciless is definitely one of those statues. As we go into the next slide is, yeah, Red Merciless. As we're looking, this is some of the first artwork. The first version of Merciless was red, so they say he clashed too much with the Red Death, so they made him blue. But then, of course, you're looking at this statue. It's pretty much identical. I do like XM's Red Merciless better, just because you saw in the picture, it does have some of those gold notes, some of those gold highlights, and I would prefer that to just plain red like this. The eyes are yellow, but still. And that is the Merciless. Next on the next on the list is the other one, the Red Death, and this one is used. You guys follow the channel I got from Buck Fangs, but yeah. So Red Death, again, all these the main Dark Knight's metal statues. They're from metal, and you see his comic cover right here. And as we look at the video, yeah, this is still like number one. I'm gonna do a few ranking videos when I get Murder Machine in, which statue I like the best, and probably a list of top rankings of their bases. This is still the number one base for me personally. But this one as well has a variant, and the reason I'm not really giving Prime 1 shit with these variants is because the red one for the Merciless was his OG look. This one, as we're taking a look now at the Barry Allen, or the gold version of Red Death, as you see here in the middle, it's from the comics. If you don't know, Red Death is a mix between Barry Allen and Bruce Wayne, and when Barry Allen takes back over the consciousness, takes over the wheel, I like to say, he turns gold. But as you turn the page, he's unfortunately, you know, I'll try not to do spoilers, but he doesn't last long as Reverse Red Death. And by the way, those words are never mentioned in the comic, just Red Death or Barry Allen. Moving on. Next up is this one right here behind me, Dawnbreaker, and this one, the craziest stories I have, but there's some of his comic slides, and it's definitely one of the best books to read. Like, I really enjoyed Dawnbreaker's book. I think his and Murder Machine are probably two of my favorite reads. But as you take a look at his comic cover, and then you see, just like the rest of them, it's straight off the comic cover. And the thing I love the most about this statue is the memories. It's my son's first unboxing with us, and just the journey I had to go on, going to Orlando to pick it up, I guess from that Sick Mansion dude. But later on, I did find out that it's Aiden's Dawnbreaker that Sick bought from Aiden, so I really enjoy the fact, I don't know, knowing that, you know, I have Aiden's Dawnbreaker. But yeah, so that's Dawnbreaker from the Metal Universe. Next up is still, until Murder Machine gets here, I think we'll see. It's one of my, it is my favorite statue I have in the collection currently, and that is Devastator. As we take a look at his slides, and I really love the picture in the middle, but yeah, the picture to the left of this is still the face. You know, I thought I'd hate, but it's one of my favorite heads. And as we see his comic cover, and then we get into his footage, this statue I think will always take the cake of the biggest comeback stories for myself, and just showing you in general. You know, not to judge too harshly. Everybody deserves a second chance, and if you know, you know. But I went through hell to get this statue, and I eventually went through a distributor and got it. A distributor I never thought I would work with again, but that is Devastator. The next one we're going to talk about is one that is weeks away from getting put on a boat, and that is the Murder Machine. And so I don't have any footage of this one, but these are some slides, some of my personal favorite shots of him from his books. And yeah, I can't wait to look at this statue. I can't wait to talk about his origin. It's probably one of my favorite books in the metal is his origin, his one shot, which I'm gonna show you that over this pictures too. And it always tripped me out because of how small Murder Machine is on the comic cover. And I always wondered, like, what the hell are they going to do with this base? You know, I thought they were going to have this tank on the cover as the base. But we'll talk about it more when in these pictures. But oh man, where did those pictures go? No, way down here. Okay, so this is the Murder Machine, and you see the base, and we'll talk more about it once it's here. But yeah, it's the watchtower once he takes over it in the story in the book. But I'm gonna go show you some of these other pictures of it from a Chinese collector who's already received this statue. These are some of his pictures. But yeah, I absolutely cannot wait for this. It's going to be my first light up by Prime 1. And I'm not going to put batteries in the hands, but I can't wait to plug the base in. I think it's USB-C, so I can't wait to see this one. So that is all of the quote-unquote Dark Knights from Metal. The next one is probably the only one from the Metal line I don't feel like I absolutely have to have. And of course, that is Superman. And I'll show you the statue first on this one, because once you get a good look at what this statue looks like, I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this Superman from Metal, is there is absolutely a Superman in Dark Knight's Metal. This ain't him. He looks very much like a regular Superman. This particular statue comes from a comic cover variant. I couldn't find the comic with the Dark Knight's Metal crap on it. This is the only one I could find. It's the version cover with nothing on it. And so this is that Superman. This Superman is never in the story. He's only a comic cover, which is again why I don't feel the absolute necessary need to have him. But I digress with that stupid ass point, because if they make the Cyborg from this cover, I'm going to have a very hard time not buying the Cyborg. It looks badass with the skull for the chest. Like, oh my god. Please, Prime 1, don't do this one. Because I would, it would be so amazing. There's a lot going on with that Cyborg. Anyways, so this is probably the only variant in Metal or any of these statues I think was stupid, unnecessary, cash grab. Why, you ask? Because we just talked about how this Superman is not in the story. He's from a fucking comic cover. So, turn the page. Why we needed a black version of this motherfucker, I don't understand. It's completely a cash grab. On the other hand, though, if I was to ever get this Superman, I would probably get the black one. I just like the way it looks better, and the beard, and it just looks more evil. And again, if you guys know my collection, I collect very evil looking Batmen, women too, Miss Bryce Wayne. But yeah, this one looks a lot more sinister. I probably would display the angry, bearded portrait, and I don't think I would display it with a cape, because I think it looks good with no cape, and nothing else on my shelves has a cape. So yes. So this is the only one I kind of disagree with, or think that Prime 1 should not have done, even though I would prefer the black one. If I had the chance to buy either of these statues, I would prefer the black one, absolutely. So that is it for Metal. Let's move on. Well, technically, I thought it was moving on, but I'm doing more research. I guess the first time we saw Harley Who Laughs, let me just be clear, whether it's Harley Who Laughs, whether it's Dark Knight's Metal, or whether it's Batman Who Laughs, she is only on comic cover variants. At no point in Metal, Batman Who Laughs, or Death Metal is she ever in the story. But I did dig deep, and I found these, which I think this is the first showing of Harley Who Laughs. It's not, of course, what we end up with in the Batman Who Laughs comic cover variant and the statue itself, but this is the first time we're seeing a Harley type, Harley-esque Harley Who Laughs. So what I knew her best from was these comic covers. I know the one on the left is pretty similar to those other ones, but these three are Batman Who Laughs books. These are Batman Who Laughs comic variants, comic cover variants. And as you see, the one in the middle, I do have that artwork, but of course I have the one with the Grim Knight in the window, because I think it makes it go better with the three statues I have together. So tying Grim Knight into her is something I always like. But the one here on the right is definitely the comic I have, and definitely the look I like the most. So with the feathered head, this is why I like it the most. It's because it was from the cover. This is pretty much, I think, the cover that blew up with her. And just to kind of show you, now we'll wait till we get to Grim Knight. But yeah, as you guys know, this is my latest pickup. As we look at the footage of this statue, it's definitely my number 2 favorite. Yes, I couldn't couldn't think to ask for anything more. The only thing I still question is why both of the portraits with no mask they're identical, but painted differently. We could have had something like on that one comic cover with the makeup smeared and blonde pigtails out instead of the jester look. There could have been something different, but nevertheless. So yes, I would consider her, for the most part, to be a Batman Who Laughs statue, not a Dark Knight's Metal. But because I did find those other comic covers, I'll let it slide. But the one statue from the line that has Dark Knight's Metal plastered all over it, of course, is the Grim Knight. The Grim Knight never is in metal. I think he may be a background character in the final fight of Death Metal. I don't remember. I'm not going to say he's not in that book, but he makes his debut right here. I know two of these say the Grim Knight, but if you look at the top, it is a comic cover variant of a Batman Who Laughs book. So his first appearance and his origin story is told in that Batman Who Laughs book. He is a Batman Who Laughs statue. And I know it's still a dark multiverse. It's still a version of Bruce who severely goes sideways and is an evil version of Batman. Yes, but he is not from metal. He is from the Batman Who Laughs book. And the one here in the middle, I love that one, and that's the one I ended up going with in my slab stand. But the one on the left here is a number 2. Like, I love him with Harley. And again, Batman Who Laughs being on the base as we take a look at the statue. And the reason I have them all three together is because you see that comic cover. Harley definitely is a part of this trio. So I love Batman Who Laughs on his base, and I love having Harley Who Laughs over there with both of them. That's why I think those three pair really well together. Okay, so that is all of Dark Knight's metal statues. That's all of the 1.5 from Batman Who Laughs. So now we're going to get into the rest of the story, and that's Death Metal. Okay, so Death Metal. So far, I have been extraordinarily successful at talking myself out of buying all of these statues, even though all of them, if I had unlimited space and money, I would have all of them except Superman. I wouldn't have this Superman we're going to look at and talk to, because I don't like the look of it in the story or the statue. I probably would display the other Superman black variant with this Batman, but here we go, Death Metal. So the first one up, of course, Batman. I have all of these pictures, and I believe all three of these are comic cover variants, but they always show them playing instruments. They never do that in the actual book, so if you think it's stupid and cliche, it's not in the book. It was just the comic cover series. I believe all three of the Trinity, and even Batman Who Laughs, singing. They all have those instrumental comic covers. But getting into the statue, there's only 3 pictures I'm going to show you. I really love the look. It's not from these Death Metals. They're not from any particular cover, but this statue looks amazing. The switch out that you get with it's almost criminal that we got so many headstands with Harley Who Laughs and hardly any, or one, with this statue. I don't have it. I don't foresee me ever having space for it, but I would be fucking annoyed to have that many heads with one headstand. I really would. But so that is the first Death Metal statue of Batman. So who do you think the second one is? Yeah, we already talked about it. Superman. And again, as you see these 3 pictures, it's not that I particularly hate it. It's just, for me, it never felt like Superman. At any part of this story, it never felt like Superman to me. And if you're wondering, I can't remember the specifics, but yes, that he was tortured and his arm did turn into a Darkseid-esque, like he has Darkseid skin on his right arm. So yes, that's why his arm looks like that. But as we look into the statue, and they did a really, really good job with the statue. I just don't particularly care for it. if he resonated with me and I had space, I would have it, but I didn't connect with this one. It's not that it's a bad statue, it's just that it's not for me. But the next one, so these last two have kind of been shown in their prototype. One's a render and one was an actual printed prototype. But this first one, even though Prime 1 seemingly so far has advertised it as Dark Knight's Metal, it is a death metal story. I don't know if it was its own book, and then because it was a death metal tie-in, that's how it made it into the omnibus. I only read it as part of the death metal omnibus, but we are talking about the Batman Who Frags, and I'm going to show you these comic covers, or comic stills. And as you see the Joker bat bike, I really hope somehow they incorporate the Joker's face on this statue. It would be so fucking hilarious. And Lobo, as you see here, going up against the Batman Who Frags, it's not Lobo, it is another Bruce Wayne, which I believe he has injected himself with Lobo's blood, so that's why he looks like Lobo, but it is still a Bruce Wayne variant. It is very much still Batman, so it's Batman Who Frags. But so these are the only, the best stills I was able to get, because they still have only shown it very briefly on not this past showcase, but the one before that. But I hope we get to see this one and the next one more into detail at the next showcase. But these are some of the heads, and this one definitely seems unnecessary to me. As you see here in the middle, bike, if you're gonna have him sitting on the bike, please put that Joker face on the bike. Please, you gotta do it Prime 1. But so yeah, I don't think that one would be necessary for me. I don't have any death metal, so I'm not a Lobo collector. I love that Prime 1's giving you that option. If I had it, for some reason, again, unlimited space or money, I would never display just the Lobo heads. It would always be one of those Batman heads, because it's the Batman Who Frags. Yeah, the motherfucker looks, acts, and talks like Lobo, but it's not Lobo. But the next to last statue we're going to talk about is the one that they just debuted, and I'm going to start by showing you these two pictures. And yes, that is the death metal version of the Batman Who Laughs. Looks different, as you see here. He's all knightish, like from the old medieval days. And of course, you've got the Robin King. Now, don't let it trick you. Just because it says the Robin King doesn't mean it's a dark multiverse Robin. It is still Bruce Wayne. And this Bruce Wayne probably goes through one of the most horrific backstories. And his backstory, this book you're seeing on here, Robin King, is in the omnibus. It's pretty fucking crazy what happens to make Bruce turn into the Robin King. But so I'm going to show you them one at a time. I'm going to start with the youngin', as you see here in the comics. This is the Robin King that I would love to have seen in the statue by himself. But yeah, the XM version is fucking horrible, in my opinion. You see the one in the middle is kind of what we end up with in the statue, but to me, I hate that it's just on the base. It's not its own standalone statue. I fucking hate that. And then here, I'm going to get you some close-up shots of some of the comics cover variants. As you see on the left and the middle, you see both of them. He was very much, I guess you would say, Batman Who Laughs best Robin Crow. But of course, he's pretty much the leader of the Robin Crows. But yeah, the one on the right with him holding like all three, the Superman logo, the whip, and the Batman cowl. It's a pretty good comic cover variant. But so getting into this statue, this one here, 30 plus pieces. Now, Harley Who Laughs was a lot, but this one is definitely going to take the cake, probably, with the most pieces. There's a base and a sub-base, but yeah, getting into these statues again, it is a printed prototype. I expect the next showcase, hopefully, Prime 1, for this statue to be painted. But you see the throne, the Robin King. It's what I wanted. I just didn't want him to be on the base. But it is very much off that cover we just looked at, and this statue I have no doubt is going to be fucking amazing. And regardless whether I buy them or not, Batman Who Frags and this King Batman with Robin King, trust me, we will do gavels. I will even have the wife present for those gavels. But I can't leave you without talking about the main star, in my opinion. And you guys correct me if you think I'm wrong, but if you read Death Metal from start to finish, even if you forget all of the shit in the omnibus, just buy the Death Metal book and read it. It is a fucking Wonder Woman story. Everybody's in it. There's a lot of shit that goes down. But looking at this first slide, I love this Wonder Woman. It's my favorite version of Wonder Woman. That blue hair and the chainsaw. I love this version of her. But it's very much her story. I mean, she's the one who works with Lobo and ends up getting powers towards the end. As you see in this slide, she's huge, taking on the Darkest Night, which is Batman Who Laughs' final form. But yeah, and of course they ultimately kind of, I guess if you're familiar with the movie Jumanji, where you make it to the end and you finish, the goal is like it makes it all go away as if it never happened. So she does end up saving the day, and if there's ever a Prime 1 statue, this next picture, I feel like sure they're gonna have the head with the crown and it's gonna look badass, I have no doubt. But this head right here better be included as a swap belt, because it's probably my favorite drawing of Wonder Woman. I just love this version of her. I don't know. And it better be a maskless portrait. But I digress. The reason we're talking about Wonder Woman is because when they first debuted actual footage, they showed the two videos of Batman and Superman, and then they showed Akasan with them, talking about them. Maybe it was just the Batman. Either way, they showed the videos of Batman and Superman. Akasan came out with one or both of them and talked. And right after that, we got teased. We got this little thing. I went back to that showcase. I found this. And Death Metal coming soon. As you see the chainsaw. I got a feeling what I hope is happening is they are redoing this statue. Because I don't know if you zoom in close to this, just the way she's mounted, and like I said, I want a head with no crown. I don't think the statue looks the best it could be. I really hope they're going back to the drawing board with this statue. I'm going to really be upset if they don't do this statue. I mean, even if I don't have room to buy it, you can't just do Batman and Superman and not her. You can't move on and do Lobo Who Laughs, Batman Who Frags, or Death Metal fucking Batman Who Laughs and Robin King and still not have Wonder Woman. It is a Wonder Woman story. They're all doomed without Wonder Woman. If I was a Death Metal collector, I would be furious right now to have both of them and still not even having this statue. This is all we've ever seen. This is all we've ever seen. This picture, I'm going to show it again. This is all we've ever seen. We've never seen the statue in light. Nobody knows what this fucking thing even looks like. Well, maybe they do it at Prime 1. But yeah, so what the fuck? And I know I touched on it in the beginning. My opinion, it's either something to do with licensing. So for whatever reason, they couldn't use Batman Who Laughs logo. They had to use Dark Knight's Metal with Grim Knight, which is fine. We saw that Harley Who Laughs was in both comic cover variants in both stories, even though she wasn't in the story. Let's make a statue because that'll sell, and yeah, it's back there. But my opinion, the reason they're not using Death Metal with Lobo, and we'll see that they didn't use it with they didn't really show Metal or Death Metal with the King. But if you look at that small little footage, it says Dark Knight's Metal of Batman Who Frags, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's how they go with this King Batman. And the only thing I can think of is because Dark Knight's Metal sells, and I think they really struggled with Batman and Superman death metal. They struggled with them to sell them. I think you can pretty much, maybe you have to search for them, but I mean I don't think they made very many. I mean, maybe I'll pop up the ESs here. Maybe it'll be in the description, whatever. I don't think they sold very well, so maybe that's why they're like abandoning all death metal branding, and let's just make everything Dark Knight's Metal. But anyways, that's going to bring us to the end. And this is another reason I told the wife I don't think I'm going to get the King Who Laughs, because if I get the King Who Laughs and then they come out with Wonder Woman, I'm gonna have an uphill as fuck battle not getting her. But as of right now, I don't have any death metal, so and she's all ready to give in. I'm like, you can't give in. Once you give in, I'm gonna end up getting all of them. But yeah, if I get the King and then Prime 1 decides to drop death metal Wonder Woman, I'm gonna have a hard time not getting her. And ultimately, she still may be the only death metal statue I get. We'll have to see. But I really hope that they're redesigning her. I really do, and we have to have her, right? I mean, you guys seem like you're continuing to make death metal statues, even though it sounded like when you showed Harley and you showed Murder Machine, I thought it was made clear at that point we were done with metal. And then you brand Lobo Batman Who Frags with metal. So we'll see. Ultimately, Batman Who Frags and this new King that we just talked about should be branded death metal. But yeah. So now you guys know what statues by Prime 1 are from what book. And if you're an XM metal collector, I really feel for you. I hope you get all of them. As far as I know, there's no Devastator, there's no Drowned. I was this close to ordering the death metal on bike. It looks so badass. I hope you get them. I mean, I think they even showed a death metal Superman from XM, but I really hope you guys get them. But thank God I went with Prime 1 with these metal statues. They look bigger. Well, they are bigger. They look better, in my opinion. But I hope you guys, who are the XM guys, I hope you get your stuff. Anyways, so now you guys know, again, I know I've probably already said it twice, what statue is from what comic. Again, it's not really a huge deal, but yeah, it does kind of bother me. I stop myself more than I let it slide correcting people, for sure. And I used to, I don't know, think, well, it's not that big a deal, but it's like, well, once it's something that you know and you like okay, I get it now. But yeah, if I annoy you, I'm sorry. But guys, if you found this video helpful, or if you enjoyed it at all, please hit the like button, subscribe if you want to. I know we touched on Murder Machine in this video. In a few weeks, it'll be processing and being put on a boat. If you guys are interested to hear what happens, if anything on this tariff situation happens with Murder Machine, I'll keep you guys informed. As of right now, filming this, it's up to 125%. So if I ever get told by Prime 1 I have to cover that, you won't see Murder Machine on this channel. But I'll definitely keep you guys up to date on that situation. So Murder Machine, please, coming. Stay tuned on Instagram, Facebook, and here on YouTube. I will try to keep you updated on that process as much as I can. But regardless, I think I have a few more Hot Toys in the works coming. We'll see. I know I've delayed it enough. So guys, no matter what happens next, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.